Hello. Well, welcome the students from Glasgow Caledonian University. City of Glasgow College Students Association. University of Western Scotland Students Association. The best students association in Scotland, University of Strathclyde. So, welcome to staff, trustees, observers, members of the press. Welcome to all of the candidates. Welcome to all of the online viewers. We are live streaming. Welcome to 2017, yay. And it's being picked up by all students' associations who are participating today. There's been 8,414 total votes this year. And congratulations to everyone for a great election. You must be feeling nervous, tired, but really excited for the results. Everyone has been incredibly brave. Running an election is not easy. And you gain so much just by running alone. And to those who win, please do so graciously, as there are others who have lost out on this opportunity. Student representation is not easy. Sometimes you go into board meetings and you have people coming in and saying, "Aye, son, what life experience have you got?" And then you've got some people saying, "So why do you get involved in this student politics?" And then the worst one, which I hate, is, "When are you going to get a real job?" But more importantly, you're dealing with people's lives. You're changing people's lives. And there's such a high level of expertise that's required. So today we are pleased and honored to have Green Party members Ross Greer and Zara Kitson. After the 2016 Scottish elections in May, Ross became the youngest ever MSP to be elected into Scottish Parliament at 21 years old. Prior to this, Ross was a communities coordinator for Yes Scotland, helping to develop a movement for independence. He's a member of Holyrood's European and Education Committees and a committed community campaigner. Zara has been an active member of the Green Party since 2011. Oh, that's when I came here to the UK. A celebrated activist and a keen writer, Zara has a strong passion for women's issues, gender equality, youth participation, and anything to do with democracy and social and environmental justice. She has embraced a diverse range of jobs and volunteer roles throughout her career, working with young people across public, private, and third sectors. Last year, she was recognized as one of Scotland's inspiring women under 30. So please give a round of applause and welcome to Ross Greer and Zara Kitson.
Thank you all very much, and I'm so impressed by the level of engagement that we've seen across the campuses this year. It's really nice to come back, actually. I very, very briefly was a student here at Strathclyde. I still get all the alumni stuff coming through. It's usually asking me for money. That's fair enough. I'm actually really impressed that I still get it, bearing in mind that just after I got elected, Sir Jim, the principal, sent me a letter inviting me to come back to the campus to congratulate me for winning and to salary, second salary and the third salary. So I don't know how welcome I am at that end of the campus anymore. But a lot was made of my election last year as Scotland's youngest MSP, the youngest decision maker in Scotland. But one of the points that I was trying to make is that there are dozens of young people who are already decision makers in Scotland, who are already elected representatives, and that's in the student movement. Dozens of people right now, hundreds, thousands in the history of the student movement, who've made a huge impact on the lives of students in Scotland, and far beyond just lives of students. This movement has a proudly internationalist history, engaging in struggles across the world for truth and for justice. But this year, the coming years, are going to be some of the most important for the student movement. There are huge choices coming up, huge changes coming up in this country. And I'm not just talking about a potential Scottish independence referendum, though if that comes up, vote yes. But that's not what we're here to talk about this evening. What I want to talk about is Brexit and the impact that that might have. It's going to be a huge challenge for us. It's going to be a profound impact on our universities and colleges, not just because of the direct funding that they receive, but because, as we all know, the thousands of staff and students from elsewhere in Europe, from elsewhere in the world, who make these campuses the success that they are, our friends. It's our responsibility over the next 2 years, when their right to stay here, their right to continue to contribute here is under threat. It's the responsibility of the student movement, of everyone who cares about this, to stand up and defend our friends and say, not only are they welcome here, but we're not willing to see them go, and we're going to fight for their right to stay here. That's an essential role for the student movement to play over the next couple of years. And we shouldn't believe that it's just going to be limited to folk from elsewhere in Europe. What we've seen over the last few months, over the last year, is a kind of politics of closed borders and closed minds, the kind of politics that rejects knowledge, that rejects experts. Everything that the student movement isn't. If we think it's just going to stop with folk from elsewhere in Europe, we're unfortunately wrong. It's going to be a profound fight over the next couple of years for the kind of progressive, outward-looking society that I believe everyone in this room wants to see. But the campaigns, the work that the student movement gets involved in, that your associations get involved in, aren't just on that international stage. It's what we do nationally and locally that counts as well. And we have a really wonderful opportunity over the next couple of years to finally get a handle on student support here in Scotland, to finally value college students just as much as we value university students, and to raise the bar for everyone so that everyone is getting the support they receive, particularly over the summer months when we know that it's difficult. And there's a huge amount that we can do here in Glasgow and across the west of Scotland as well. We know everyone from rogue landlords to rip-off bus companies are putting pressure on students, not just students, putting pressure on everyone, but there's a huge impact there on students. And there's a role for the movement to play in demanding rent controls, in demanding action against these dodgy landlords, in demanding regulation of the bus companies, fairer prices, genuine access to public transport for the public rather than just transport ran for private profit. These are all campaigns that the student movement can have a huge, huge impact on. And I look forward to working with you on that. And it's not just about making your voice heard, but making sure that it's listened to as well. Not being afraid to get in people's faces. I hope you've not got a reason to get in my face over the next couple of years. I hope I'm standing with you. I certainly intend to. But don't be afraid to stand in the face of decision makers who you think are getting it wrong. Don't be afraid to get direct. Let's not go back to old tactics that didn't work. Let's look at where we've had successes, and it's where we've been bold, where it's where we've been completely unafraid. And look at new energy, new campaigns that are coming through that have been amazingly successful. Like the Living Rent campaign that came out of the student movement, that's putting together tenants' unions to defend the rights of tenants. It's already having an impact. Or the Better Than Zero campaign ran by young trade unionists that's ending zero-hours contracts, ending exploitative employers taking advantage, particularly of young people. Those are the kind of campaigns that we need to support. Those are the kind of campaigns the student movement needs to be involved in. And I look forward to working with you wherever possible on all of that. But as you might have noticed, I'm a bit male and pale. I'm not quite stale yet. So I'm delighted to have the opportunity to hand over to Zara Kitson to add a little bit more diversity to the panel this evening. Thanks very much.
Hello. That was quite good. I feel like getting into some sort of rap thing now. but I won't. I'll save that till later. It's really great to be here with you all tonight. I was never at this uni. I'm a Glasgow uni girl. Don't hold it against me. I never liked it that much when I was there, so you're fine. In fact, I think the only times I was ever really in this union was for the cheap drink, and I have one specific memory of being on, is there 11 levels? Level 11, level 10. See, I was obviously at a whole other level because of the cheap beer. Dressed as a hula girl, I think I remember. So, but I'm here tonight, and I've not even had a drink yet. That's how important I feel student elections and student voice really is. Raising your head above the parapet to bring voice to the issues that you care about takes a lot of courage. So well done to all of you that have actually put yourself forward to stand in these elections, because it's not an easy thing to do. This is especially the case for those who are ordinarily underrepresented or silenced by dominant power structures in our society. It's really encouraging and inspiring to see students and young people actively engage with democracy. The first time I stood in an election, I was 26. I was running to be a local councillor in Stirling for the local elections, and up until that point, I hadn't really been very political. I think the first time I voted, I was 23. I grew up in a single-parent working-class household. My mum still stays in the council house I grew up in, so I didn't really have politics around me, and I was the first in my family to go to uni. But I was at a hustings event in Stirling in 2011, and I was asking questions of the politicians that were wanting our votes, and I was asking about the growing gap between rich and poor and why none of the politicians were doing anything about that, and I sort of was passionately making the case for why I felt it was the most important issue, and I kind of went on a bit of a rant when I was asking this question. So after those hustings, Mark Ruskell, who was a Green MSP at the time, he got elected again in the elections last year, which was great to see him back in there, because it's absolutely where he belongs. But he came back up to me after the hustings event in Stirling, and he said, "Have you ever thought about getting involved in politics?" And I replied, well, I've kind of, maybe, but it's not something that I think I would do now. I feel like I'm too young and I don't really know enough. Now, I was 26 at the time, and I genuinely believed that. And to which Mark replied, well, you could wait to get involved, or you could get involved now and take a generation with you. And that really changed my thinking in terms of who has place and voice in politics, and who should be represented. And that kind of, old cheesy as it sounds, but if not me, then who? So since then, I have ran in another 3 elections, including for Scottish Parliament. I've ran for Westminster and for internal party positions in the Green Party. And through my time, I've realised more and more that there's a bunch of us, namely women, who won't just put ourselves forward, but actually we need to be asked. People who aren't used to having voice don't expect it, and they don't see themselves in that picture, and we need to change that. Having more women and other marginalised groups in elected positions and public-facing roles helps. We need asylum seekers and refugees. We need LGBTI people. We need black and ethnic minorities, young people, people from working class backgrounds, disabled people, women. All of those with limited voice who are all too often systematically marginalised and oppressed. I want to send a particular appreciation and thanks to those people and to the women who continue to raise their voice on issues they care about to bring about change in their institutions. Despite women making up 52% of Scotland's population, we continue to be marginalised and underrepresented in public life and in elected positions. We're only 35% of our MSPs. We make up only 25% of our local councillors. And this is the area where the majority of public spending affecting women happens directly, and we have very limited control over that. There are no female editors of major newspapers in Scotland. And out of our FTSE 100 companies, none, not a single one of them, has a female CEO. We should be absolutely ashamed of that. And I'm not sure what the picture looks like for these elections and on your campuses, but my guess is that it won't be as good as it needs to be. And we need to change that. Women need to be at the forefront of leading that change, yet those in positions of power, those with systematic privilege, need to recognise their own privilege and be prepared to take action and be strong allies and champions to the cause of gender equality, racial equality, LGBT equality. If you have voice, I believe that it's your duty to use it to speak on behalf of and raise the voices of those who do not have the ability to do so. So I hope to see the strengthening of women's participation in democracy on all of your campuses and across our city. And I wish whoever is elected tonight the courage and insight to consider progressing gender equality as core to their commitment for the benefit of all of us. So I'm asking you to be brave, to be a feminist, and to always take another woman with you. And if you don't win tonight, stay resilient, use your experience to strengthen your voice and your cause. Good luck.
Now over to Bonnie for the results.
Good, actually managed to get up on that stage, so that was brilliant. Okay, so elections are the most incredibly stressful process. And for the first time in 4 years, I'm absolutely delighted not to have been crying and sweating my way through the first 3 months of the year. So if you need some space at any point in this evening's proceedings, please see Carol. Carol, where are you? Carol, who will take you to level 7 if you need to have a little bit of space and quiet time. So the order that I'm going to announce I'm going to announce City of Glasgow College first. Yeah. Hilariously and somewhat embarrassingly for those of you who were here last year when we did the big elections results at SOS, I actually forgot to announce the SOS elections, so SOS are going to be second, particularly embarrassing as I am a UWS student. The third results are going to be, thank you, yes, I don't know if that's for me or for SOS. The third results are going to be Glasgow College, and then UWS, you better sort this out later. And last results are going to be Strathclyde. Okay, once I've gone through all of the results, I'm going to ask the president-elect from each institution to come up and say a few words. So, you know, those of you who stood for president, you might want to be prepared for that if nobody's warned you yet. Okay, so first up, City of Glasgow College Students Association. Okay, so remember when a candidate is eliminated, their votes are distributed to the other candidates in line with their ranked preferences. When all of a voter's ranked candidates are eliminated, the quota for winning is adjusted accordingly. So the first candidate is VP Diversity and Wellbeing. There were 5 candidates, including reopened nominations, for 1 position. In round 1, the votes were as follows, and reopened nominations was eliminated. In round 2, the votes were as follows, and Sean Davis was eliminated. In round 3, the votes were as follows, and Thomas Sovchuk was eliminated. And in round 4, the votes were as follows, and Matthew Mackenzie was duly elected. Congratulations, Matthew. Well done. So for VP Social and Activities, there were 6 candidates, including Ron, for 1 position. So in round 1, the votes were as follows, and Dean Durning was eliminated. And in round 2, the votes were as follows, and Malia Leone was elected. So congratulations. Okay, and for VP Learning and Teaching, there were 2 candidates, including reopened nominations, for 1 position. And in round one, the votes were as follows, and Jack McAllister was elected. Congratulations, Jack. Okay, and the big dog, student president. There were 4 candidates, including reopen nominations for one position. And in round one, the votes were as follows, and Megan Cartwright was duly elected. Megan, would you like to come to the stage and give a speech?
Well done. Thanks. I didn't prepare a speech, wasn't expecting this, but I'd just like to thank everyone for voting and all my campaign team. I'm absolutely overwhelmed. I was not expecting that at all, but thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to thank SAWS for giving me 11 pages of a script. Okay, so this year saw SAWS have 13 candidates standing for the 4 sabbatical positions. Shh, 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 shh. Put her down, Ian. Thanks. And once again, the association is pleased to announce that we have had a gender-balanced election. In addition, SAWS has also had more international students and trans students stand than ever before. And the association would like to pass on our thanks to all students who took part in the elections. SAWS achieved 6,082 votes from 1,035 voters. This is a turnout of 6.3%. 54% of the electorate were women. Third years and postgraduates were our highest voter groups, and Paisley had the largest volume of electors. So to start off the results, we'll announce the results first of all for the NUS conference delegations. For NUS UK conference, SAWS has 4 places, 2 open and 2 reserved for women. We achieved 685 valid votes, and the winners are as follows: Heather Armstrong, Matthew Cameron, Sarah Jane Mellon, and John Black. Congratulations to all. If we could wait till we get to the end of the lists before you start clapping, this will be a much shorter process for all of you. So moving on to NUS Scotland Conference, SAWS has 7 places, 4 open places and 3 reserved for women. We achieved 625 valid votes, and the winners were as follows: John Black, Matthew Cameron, Ethan Wilson, Michael Wilson, Lisa McCusker, Kellyanne McCormack, and Herborg Hansen. Congratulations to you all, and you can find the count sheets for both elections on the SAWS website. So moving on to the Executive Officer elections. For the London Executive Officer, there was 1 place and we secured 88 valid votes. The winner of the election was Kevin Numby, so congratulations to Kevin. The second Executive Officer position was for Paisley. Again, there's 1 place, and we secured 455 valid votes. The winner of the election was Ethan Wilson. So congratulations, Ethan. So the full count sheets will be available on the SAWS website for those elections too. So the next election is for Union Chair. For this position, there was 1 place, and we secured 683 valid votes, which means the quota is 341.5 votes. So in stage 1, Ron got 39 votes, Cameron Stewart achieved 242 votes, and Michael Wilson achieved 402 votes. So as Michael has exceeded the quota, they are duly elected as the Union Chair for 2017-18. Congratulations, Michael. The next election is for Vice President, Sport and Wellbeing. So in this election, there was one place, and we secured 783 valid votes, which means the quota is 369. So in stage 1, Ron achieved 31 votes. Abdulatif Amusa achieved 211 votes. And Jonathan Cranston achieved 496. As Jonathan has exceeded the quota, he is duly elected as the Vice President, Sport and Wellbeing for 2017-18. Congratulations. Okay. The next election is for Vice President, Societies and Citizenship. For this election, there is one position, and we secured 766 valid votes, meaning the quota is 383. In stage 1, no candidate achieved the quota, therefore we eliminated Ron and transferred those second preferences to the other candidates. At stage 2, no candidate has achieved the quota, therefore we eliminate Lisa from the election and transfer her second preferences. At the end of stage 3, no candidate has achieved the quota, therefore we eliminate Kate from the election and transfer their second preferences to the other candidates. At the end of stage 4, no candidate has achieved the quota, therefore we eliminate Sarah Jane from the election. Matthew Cameron is the last remaining candidate in the election, therefore he is duly elected as the Vice President, Societies and Citizenship for 2017-18. So congratulations, Matthew. Okay. The third election, which is second to last, is for Vice President Education. Yay. For this election, there is one position, and we secured 830 votes. This means the quota is 415. So at stage 1, no candidate has achieved the quota. Therefore, we eliminate Thabani Maposa from the election and transfer their surplus votes to the other candidates. At the end of stage 2, no candidate has achieved the quota, and therefore we eliminate Ron from the election and transfer those surplus votes to the other candidates. At the end of stage 3, no candidate has achieved the quota. Therefore, we eliminate Mohammed Wasim from the election and transfer his surplus votes to the other candidates. At the end of stage 4, no candidate has achieved the quota, and there are 3 candidates remaining. Emma Shotter has 385 votes, meaning that even if all the votes from the other 2 candidates, Emily and Anup, transferred to each other, that would equal 383 votes. They would still not exceed Emma's 385. Therefore, Emma is duly elected as the Vice President Education for 2017-18. Congratulations, Emma. So the final election is for President. There is one position in this election, and we secured 808 valid votes, meaning the quota is 404. At the end of stage 1, Ron has 30 votes, Cameron Shields has 269 votes, and Heather Armstrong has 509 votes. As Heather has achieved the quota, she is duly elected as the President for 2017-18. Congratulations, Heather. Everyone, please give a round of applause for all the candidates in the election and for the SAWS Officer Team 27-18. I invite Heather Armstrong to come and address you, your President-elect.
Thank you so much to absolutely everyone who voted in this election. It's taken 10 years for a woman to hold the role of president in SAWS, and I do not want to see another 10 years of that. So thank you so much, and sisters, let's do it.
Okay, so now move on to Glasgow Caledonian. Thanks, Jodie. So this year, this year, 2,647 students voted to elect their full-time officers at Glasgow Caledonian, the highest number ever to take part in our elections. Glasgow Caledonian elects all 4 of our officers in one election using the single transferable vote method of election. This means that once a candidate has received a quota of a fifth of the total votes, they are elected. Our voters represented the diversity of the GCU student population, and here is a breakdown of voters by level of study, mode of study, I'm really glad I turned round now. Okay, academic school, and nationality. Oh. No. Okay, not by nationality. Okay. In this election, we had 13 candidates running. After the first preferences were counted, there were 2,634 valid votes, and the quota was 526.8. Kevin Campbell was elected based on first preferences with 753 votes and will be offered the role of president in the new full-time officer team. Well done, Kevin. Okay. So Kevin's excess votes were transferred to the other candidates at stage 1. As no other candidates had reached the quota, we began eliminating candidates from last place. So at stage 2, Kinga Dairak was eliminated and their votes were transferred. At stage 3, Farouk Bashir was eliminated and their votes were transferred. At stage 4, David Henry was eliminated and their votes were transferred. At stage 5, Zarmina Munir was eliminated and their votes were transferred. At stage 6, Ray Howard was eliminated and their votes were transferred. At this point, Chris Daisley's votes reached 529.8 and so passed the quota, and Chris was elected. Well done, Chris. At stage 7, Adam Stewart was eliminated and their votes were transferred. At stage 8, Chris Daisley's excess votes were transferred. At stage 9, Liam Bruce was eliminated and their votes were transferred. At this point, Yatunde Beatrice Ogedengbe's votes reached 520 and so passed the quota, and she was elected. At stage 10, Yatunde's excess votes were transferred. At stage 11, Sean Harris was eliminated and their votes were transferred. At this point, Rachel Simpson's votes reached 536.6 and so passed the quota, and she was elected. As all 4 positions are now full, Charlie Beaumont was eliminated. So your new Glasgow Caledonian University Students' Association full-time officers for 2017-18 are Kevin Campbell, Chris Daisley, Yatunde Beatrice Ogedengbe and Rachel Simpson. I'd like to invite Kevin to the stage. Anytime tonight, Kevin.
Well, you're all, expecting that I accept the presidency on that basis. But no, I think, particularly for this election, considering, I would just like to thank not only everybody who voted in terms of it actually being a record turnout of all time at GCU for elections, but on top of that, the candidates themselves, in terms of making this, in terms of the conduct that they conducted themselves with dignity and respect. I never thought I would see a day where an election happened without a scandal or without any kind of drama, but it happened and it went really well. But in terms of the diversity that we saw amongst our candidates standing, I would like to give 2 special mentions. One particular to Charlie Beaumont. For somebody who had just arrived at GCU in January, to stand an election is an incredibly brave thing to do, and to have put in such a hard graft. I would just like to offer a round of applause to Charlie for doing that. Yeah. Oh, he's over there. And secondly, to David Hendry. I think David really showed us what courage and bravery meant in this election, and he really pushed through so many barriers to try and stand, and I would really like everybody to give David a round of applause for the amazing work that he did in this election. Every single candidate that stood in this election and all the candidates who were elected on a manifesto of change, and I just want to make sure that over the next year we work together as a team to make that change happen. So thank you very much. Cheers.
frantically double checking my running order to make sure I haven't forgotten anyone this year. So I haven't, so we're all done. No, I'm joking. Still got Strathclyde to go. Okay, so the Big Student Elections 2017 executive results presentation for Strathclyde Union. Woo! Okay, so the first position is Vice President, Volunteering and Development. There are 2 candidates in this election, Liam McCabe and reopen nominations. The total number of votes was 1315. So the quota was 658. We will start the election. After the first stage, Liam has 1,175 votes and Ron has 140 votes. Are we done yet? After the first stage, Liam has 1,175 votes and Ron has 140 votes. As Liam has achieved quota, Liam McCabe is duly elected. Congratulations, Liam. How did I forget from last year how long that graphic takes? So the second position we're looking at is Vice President support. There are 2 candidates in this election, Keith Burns and reopen nominations. The total number of votes was 785, so the quota was 393. We will start the election. In case you can't see it from where you're sitting, the bar graph is showing you at the top by school and then by year group who's voted. There you go. So after the first stage, Keith has 644 votes and Ron has 141 votes. As Keith has achieved quota, Keith Burns is duly elected. Congratulations, Keith. The third position is Vice President, Sports and Wellbeing. There are 3 candidates in this election, Habibul Litton, Andrew Strachan and reopen nominations. The total number of votes was 2,150, so the quota was 1,076. We will start the election. We will start the election. I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts, da-da-da-da, to see them all are standing in a please fix this quickly. We will start the election. In other news after this, you should absolutely spend some money in the bar here, because obviously every pound that you spend in the bar at the Strathclyde goes to student experience and activities and welfare and stuff. And we will start the election. Shut up. We will start the election. Yay! While we're waiting, a round of applause for our technical team, I think, there. So the quota was 1,076. After the first stage, Habibul has 1,184 votes, Andrew has 915 votes, and Ron has 51 votes. As Habibul has achieved quota, Habibul Lytton is duly elected. Congratulations. We have to wait for the animation to finish before we can continue. Yeah, good now? Okay, great. So the fourth position is Vice President Education. There are 3 candidates in this election: Mohammed Al Hassan, Bodan Starosta, and reopen nominations. Oh, God, right, okay. The total number of votes was 1,565, so the quota was 783. We will start the election. After the first stage, Mohammed has 886 votes, Bodan 638 votes, and reopen nominations has 41. As Mohammed has achieved quota, Mohammed Al Hassan is duly elected. Congratulations. Okay, Vice President Diversity. There are 3 candidates in this election: Leo Sieber, Taylor Wong, and reopen nominations. The total number of votes was 1,789, so the quota was 895. We will start the election. Okay. After the first stage, Leo has 848 votes, Taylor has 897 votes and Ron has 44 votes. As Taylor has achieved quota, Taylor Wong is duly elected. Okay, last but certainly not least, it's President. Woo! So there are 4 candidates in this election. John Agbanrofo, Calvin Hepburn, Thomas Alexander McKeegan, and reopen nominations. The total number of votes in this election was 3,206. So the quota was 1,604, and we will start the election. Just enjoy teasing you. Okay, after the first stage, John has 1,113 votes, Calvin has 1,614 votes, Thomas has 415 votes, and Ron has 41 votes. As Calvin has achieved quota, Calvin Hepburn is duly elected. Calvin, would you like to come to the stage?
Thanks, guys. I really have no words. Thanks for everyone who voted. Thanks to my campaign team. Thanks to John and Thomas. You ran unbelievable campaigns, and as you can see, it was so tight. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, last year I was sports president, and you know, this first time someone from sports moved over to president, so a little bit nervous about how this goes, but hopefully you don't hate me too much. So yeah, just one last word. Thanks to everyone who organised it. Thanks to Andy and Andy for all their hard work over the last week. And to whoever's been elected in any position, please do give them their full support. They'll need it over the next year. It's a fun but really, really challenging year. And yeah, a massive thank you to absolutely everybody involved. I'll hopefully do you proud. Thank you.
Okay, having served as the NUS Scotland President for the last 2 years, I think it's absolutely fair to say, and I think every sabbatical officer in the room would agree with me here, that our successes are absolutely built on the backs of the really hard graft that our staff do for us every day. So let's take this opportunity to thank all the staff and the Students' Associations for everything they've done this week, for everything they do for us all the time. Thank you. So to all candidates, you should be incredibly proud of your bravery. It is a bold thing to do, to put yourself and your ideas out for public scrutiny and judgment. To the winning candidates, my most sincere congratulations. Having served as NUS Scotland President, I can tell you there is no role like this. Working every day, knowing that you're changing students and potential students' lives for the better. Take your role seriously, but have fun with it too. Bring people with you and make the absolute most of every one of your precious 365 days ahead of you. I wish you luck, solidarity and bravery in your roles. Congratulations to you all. And I'll invite you back over to Raj, your president, for another 3 months.
Right. Thank you to everyone who's here. Thank you everyone who stood. And congratulations to all of the candidates who didn't get elected. You're in for an easy year compared to those who did. Thank you to Ross, Zara, Vonnie, Strathclyde TV, the media crew, the staff members, the returning officer. Are the returning officers here? No. Well, thank you to them. Candidates and all the students that's voted, and join us in the Barony Bar until late with DJ and a chance to meet students from other greater Glasgow campuses.